In a vast and mysterious jungle, treasures await those who have determination, skill, and the passion to explore. Your quest, should you choose to accept it, will lead you to recover lost relics and return them to their rightful place in history. In a vast and mysterious jungle, treasures await those who have determination, skill, and the passion to explore. Your quest, should you choose to accept it, will lead you to recover lost relics and return them to their rightful place in history.
Stay with me while we leave. Don't worry, just believe me. This journey will relieve us. Stay with me while we leave. Stay with me while we leave. Don't worry, just believe me. This journey will relieve us.
In a vast and mysterious jungle, treasures await those who have determination, skill, and the passion to explore. Your quest, should you choose to accept it, will lead you to recover lost relics and return them to their rightful place in history.
I can't believe the night lay waste to all we'd given. But honestly, you've gotta know that this ain't living, but we could run.
In a vast and mysterious jungle, treasures await those who have determination, skill, and the passion to explore. Your quest, should you choose to accept it, will lead you to recover lost relics and return them to their rightful place in history.
I can't believe myself. I never thought that this would be our end, but it's nothing new. And my lover's honesty, I can push it back down if I have to. If you want me to, 'cause we can and we can the stars they fall all for you. So tell me now, what's left to lose if we run? If we run.
In a vast and mysterious jungle, treasures await those who have determination, skill, and the passion to explore. Your quest, should you choose to accept it, will lead you to recover lost relics and return them to their rightful place in history. In a vast and mysterious jungle, treasures await those who have determination, skill, and the passion to explore. Your quest, should you choose to accept it, will lead you to recover lost relics and return them to their rightful place in history. In a vast and mysterious jungle, treasures await those who have determination, skill, and the passion to explore. Your quest, should you choose to accept it, will lead you to recover lost relics and return them to their rightful place in history.
Gave you too much, now I'm swallowed. Now I'm the fool while you're breaking rules. Dangerous path that I follow. Oh, go on, just do what you do. And it as I bleed for you, cry for you, oh, oh. Let me bleed. As I bleed for you, cry for you, oh, oh. Let me bleed. Let me
In a vast and mysterious jungle, treasures await those who have determination, skill, and the passion to explore. Your quest, should you choose to accept it, will lead you to recover lost relics and return them to their rightful place in history.
go on, just do what you do. As I bleed for you, cry for you, oh, oh. Let me bleed. As I bleed for you, cry for you, oh, oh. Let me bleed. Let me bleed.
In a vast and mysterious jungle, treasures await those who have determination, skill, and the passion to explore. Your quest, should you choose to accept it, will lead you to recover lost relics and return them to their rightful place in history.
Our dreams are where you'll find me. You're the only thing I see. Our dreams are where you'll find me. Your lips like galaxies. They tell us we're crazy, but we're just dreaming and hoping for. They tell us not to fret, love is so fleeting, like distant shores, like comets and daydreams, but we're still scheming and hoping for everything they can't believe. Can we love tonight? You put all the stars in my eyes. Can we love tonight? You tell me I light up the whole sky. Can we love tonight? You put all the stars in my eyes. Can we love tonight? You tell me I light up the whole sky.
In a vast and mysterious jungle, treasures await those who have determination, skill, and the passion to explore. Your quest, should you choose to accept it, will lead you to recover lost relics and return them to their rightful place in history.
But we're just dreaming, hoping.
In a vast and mysterious jungle, treasures await those who have determination, skill, and the passion to explore. Your quest, should you choose to accept it, will lead you to recover lost relics and return them to their rightful place in history.
Heaven's an angel. Heaven's an angel. Every night, every day, I put my hands together and pray that it won't be long till you come along. I've been waiting. Never give up hope. I always believed there was someone out there to feel the hole inside of me. I've been looking for love, going on hate or love.
In a vast and mysterious jungle, treasures await those who have determination, skill, and the passion to explore. Your quest, should you choose to accept it, will lead you to recover lost relics and return them to their rightful place in history. In a vast and mysterious jungle, treasures await those who have determination, skill, and the passion to explore. Your quest, should you choose to accept it, will lead you to recover lost relics and return them to their rightful place in history.
I want you to jump like you trying to get stuck in the air. If you feeling so lit and don't care, shorty beating her face in the mirror, up in the air. I want you to jump like you trying to get stuck in the air. If you feeling so lit and don't care, shorty beating her face in the mirror, up in the air. I want you to jump. Jump. I want you to jump, 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 jump. Up in the air, I want you to
Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome. Oh, there's some echo. Tyler, I think your phone is echoing. Good start. Good start. Welcome everybody. My name is Andrew Rudolph. I am one of the Space Coast League co-commissioners, and we wanted to welcome everyone to our virtual kickoff. Since, as you know, we have a hurricane coming, so we can't do a real event in person anymore across the state. So we figured this is a way to get some of that critical information out to you about the new season. Many of you know, many of you do not know, but there are some changes in the state league structure that are coming this year, and the way judging's happening and a few things. So that's why we felt necessary to have this event so you all can understand that. With me today is our co-commissioner, our head commissioner really, Nathan Pell. Hey Nathan, how's it going?
Good, Andrew. How are you?
Okay, batten down the hatches. So we're going to start off here, Nathan's going to go over the new league structure, so you guys can understand what that means as far as the state goes. I'll go over then some of the new ways that judging is going to happen. Then we'll have a small talk about the new electronic system from Rev, and then we'll get to the game unveil at noontime. So with that, Nathan, take it away.
Thank you, Andrew. Hope everyone is doing well and getting prepared and staying safe. Like Andrew said, there are quite a few changes coming out this season in Florida. So I'm going to quickly share my screen to everyone and switch over to the presentation. When this finishes loading, there's going to be a link at the top of your screen that you can use to submit questions. I'm just waiting for everything to finish loading here. Okay.
Also, just FYI, you also can submit questions into the YouTube chat.
Okay, here we go. Or maybe not. It's taking forever. Okay, oh my goodness. All right, so quite a few changes coming up here for the state. First of them, we are now conforming to the, whoops, I'm sorry, I went past the slide there. First, we'd like to congratulate some really good results we had out of Florida last year. Team 4717 and 7202. Micromanagers from my home league, the Space Coast League, and KNO3, finalist Alliance team winners from Florida, and also to Team 7477, also from the Space Coast League, for making it to the Alliance rounds at Houston. So we want to give a real good congratulations to those teams. We've got a little bit shorter schedule this season. Kickoff, of course, is today. Super Regional for our region is now March 8th through 10th, which means Florida State Championship is looking like it's going to be February 3rd or 10th. That means league championships can be no later than January the 14th. As normal, league meets will happen November through December. In October, leagues can have workshops, training events, practice events, etc., those types of things. So let's get into some of the changes. First of all, is the background. We were one of the very first regions in the country to pilot the league system, which was developed to help first Tech Challenge expand and grow and expand without having to have a lot of qualifying events all over. Each region was allowed to follow a little bit different model to allow First to gain experience with the system. 2 years ago, First finalized the official definition and has asked Florida to start this season aligning with the First League system that was adopted nationwide. Some key differences here. In Florida in the past, leagues were a minimum of 14 teams, but there was no officially a size limit. We've had leagues, as you can see down there, up in North Florida and Palm Beach, as much as 45 teams. With the new alignment, small leagues of 12 to 16 teams maximum. Next, the advancement criteria. This is where a big change is coming, and Andrew's going to go into this a little bit more in detail later. But in the past, in the state of Florida, there was a ranking system that was a combination of your robot performance and your judging results. And all the teams in the state were ranked together in one large spreadsheet, and the top 24 teams were typically invited to the state championship along with the Inspire Award winners from league championships. Those were all guaranteed an invitation. Now, teams will advance from their league championship using the standard criteria as defined in section 7.4 of the game manual. Essentially, it's the same as what we've been doing when you advanced at the state championship. So I'm going to put my little cursor on here, my pointer. So we have league meets. You'll be playing in your league, and I'll get to in a second here, but now you'll be only playing in league matches only. There'll be no more out of league matches. Every team will advance to the league championship. From your league championship, you will advance to the state championship. It is to be determined on how many teams will advance from each league. So in the past, the top 28 teams attended the league championship. Now everybody goes to league championship. That is a big difference. I really like this difference personally. I love the fact that every team gets to attend their capstone event. Like I mentioned, the rankings were done throughout the state. Now, the scoring software is going to maintain your league ranking based on at least the team's best 10 matches starting from the second event. So, for example, team 1, 2, 3, 4 goes to the first meet, wins all 6 matches. It goes to their second meet, loses all their matches. They will come to the league championship with a score of 6 or 0-6, I should say. So, but if they went to another event and won 4 matches, they will then come into the league championship with a 10-0 victory. The scoring software takes care of all that information, and starting at the second meet, teams will be ranked based on the previous results. Like I mentioned previously, teams can only attend an in-league event. Andrew's going to get into this in more detail later. But to start with, because there's a lot to this, the numeric judge score is no longer going to be used to create a state ranking. We will no longer use the Excel sheet. For those of you that were judges in the past, the Excel sheet is no more. We will be using the standard first judge sheet, which will be used to judge awards. It will require some additional time and events, and Andrew's going to go over that again in a little bit. But the numeric ranking Excel sheet, that is all a thing of the past at this point. Again, the state ranking is no longer used to determine which teams receive invitation to the state championship. Teams will no longer be required to submit a 3-minute judge video in December. And all leagues will start using the league meet event in the scoring software. So those of you running events, it's very important that you make sure you select league meet in the scoring software. Additionally, leagues will need to have a dedicated scoring computer or someone will need to be responsible for keeping the data from meet to meet, since the scoring system will need previous match results in order to calculate the ranking. We will no longer be giving robot performance awards at league meets. In fact, judges are no longer needed for league meets. Engineering notebooks will no longer be reviewed. The Think Award will no longer be given. What that also means is league meets are going to be much shorter now. All that's really going to happen is teams show up, go get inspected, and you play your matches and you go home. Because of that, and for those of you who are hosting events, if you look through the documentation on the first website, you will see that you can run an event in about 3 hours with about 12 to 14 teams. Again, that's why First wants leagues to be smaller. They kind of want this to be like an after-school, high school athletic event. You show up, you watch the tournament, you go home. Short, simple, and sweet. For those of you hosting events, this is going to mean you don't need as many volunteers. It should hopefully reduce your cost. You're feeding less people. And in all possibility, you can start early in the morning and get out before lunch. So you're only really needing to provide one meal. Right now, we've got 7 leagues in the state. So they're going to be restructured to provide an opportunity for all the teams to attend the league championship. Again, that is a requirement from First. However, due to volunteer, team, and event facility limitations, each league will be taking a different approach. Some will be breaking to smaller leagues of 12 to 16 teams only. Some will host multiple league championships of similar size or have a large 20-plus team league championship. The Space Coast League will be hosting one large 20-plus league championship for those of you in the Space Coast. Also, given we have leagues different sizes, the number of teams advancing will vary based on the number of teams that attend the championship. A minimum of 2 will advance from each. Hans will be determining later in the year which league will send which number of teams to the state championship. At a minimum, though, the state championship is going to be growing as the program continues to grow. Really excited about that. And from what I've heard, the state championship venue that was chosen is going to be much larger, can host a much larger event. And it's not advancing in my slide for some reason. Oh, that's the last slide. So let me pull up the Q&A and switch back to my video. Okay. Let's see if we have any questions. Okay, we have no questions. So Andrew, why don't you go ahead and move on to the next one?
Sure thing. So I just wanted to direct your attention. The other person who's here in the chat you might see is Sid. He's our head referee in the Space Coast League, and he refs at a bunch of events. So later on, after the game reveal, Sid will be helping lead a Q&A on the game session. So if you've seen him pop up on Nathan's screen, it's not just some random guy. That's Sid enjoying the talk. So as you guys probably just heard there's a bunch of changes coming this season. So no more 3-minute videos for judging, no more actual points added for judging. So the judging system will be changing. It's going to be a little different, but not crazy different. So just to quickly go over all this stuff. So we're changing to a different judging system, as Nathan discussed. So judging will only take place in the league championship. That means we're not doing judging at all of the meets like we had in the past where we did the engineering notebook reviews or any of that kind of stuff. It's only going to be at the league championships. Judging no longer has any effect on state ranking because really there isn't much of a state ranking anymore. And so said your mic's on. There's no longer an effect on state ranking as it stood. But obviously because of the fact that we're changing to the way that first is qualifies you into the state championship, the first team that qualifies to the state championship is your Inspire Award winner. So judging still matters, but there is no longer a state ranking with it. Teams no longer submit a video, no more 3-minute video in the middle of the season. That's affecting, again, no more state ranking, but you don't need that. Teams are no longer judged by numeric point value. If you remember in the past, in the state ranking, you had a 0 to 100 point score. That's no longer going to be there. Some leagues will no longer have a judgment day because of the fact that we're only judging once and all the teams are getting judged in basically one day. We don't have to do a judgment day. We're allowed to have a judges are allowed to happen during a tournament, the league championship. They don't have to happen on a specific day ahead of time. So yeah, no judgment day. Okay, so here's an example of a way that a league could potentially have it. And all this information is really taken from the judges manual that first is sent out to us. It's not necessarily unique information, but we're just getting this out to you so you guys understand what to expect this season. So an example would be you'd have panels of 2 judges, and say you have one panel that's going to be observing GP on the field, and they could be also collecting data on robot performance. And then you'll have another panel that's out interviewing teams. So it's not necessarily just a group of 4 people or 2 people who are sitting in a room talking to you. There's multiple groups who are out doing things. Of course, the important things if you're doing a GP panel is you're talking about how the team responds to wins and losses, how they interact with other teams, how they interact with volunteers, how they interact with each other, all those wonderful things that first really is trying to instill into you guys. During robot and match play, they're going to look at autonomous operation, robot reliability during the match team strategy, kind of what you'd expect that panel to be looking for. Then that's a duplicate slide. So here's an example of a timeline if you were in a league championship without a judgment day. So in the morning, obviously, just like it always is, everyone shows up. You have your morning meetings. At 7:30 in the morning, you start doing your interviews. So you do 2 hours of interviews, get through all of your up to 16 or 20 teams, whatever it's going to be. Then the judges will meet and do some deliberations before opening ceremonies even start. So a lot of the judging process is done before you play your first match. Then opening ceremonies happen, and you break out into the panels are going to go out. So you have your pin reviews going on, you have match observations going on. Just after lunch, the judges get together and do their final deliberations, write up their scripts, and then you're done at the end of the day with the closing ceremony as always. So the day is a little bit shorter for a league championship. As Nathan alluded to before, meets are going to be shorter because you're not having to do any of this stuff during a meet. So this is just an example of a theoretical event. We'll call it the Moss Creek FTC event with 24 teams. So the big thing to take away from this panel is that every team is not seeing the exact same judges as the other teams. So you see team 1 through 8 is seeing panel A, team 9 through 16 is seeing panel B, panel C. So you're not having the same group of people seeing every team. That means you're going to have a little more varied opinions, and that's why you have that early morning deliberation. After that goes on, then if we go back to the other slide, that is just that first part, the team interviews. Then we're going to deliberations, and then they're going to break out and go talk to other teams to find out who's really going to win the awards. Now, this setup isn't something, again, this isn't something that Florida is like uniquely designing or anything like that. This is coming down from first headquarters in Manchester. This is a national system that they're going to. So that's where the changes are coming from. Engineering notebook, nothing to see here. Everything's the same. Keep documenting, all that kind of stuff. Everything's going to be identical to what it was in the past. So for you new teams who've never been in a judging situation, here's just some quick things for you to think about. I mean, that judges might ask your team in an interview or in the pit, what does it mean to you to be gracious professional? What does your robot do? How did you come up with the overall design? What roles do your team members play on your team? How did you make your decisions? How do you manage your time? What does your team do to attract additional mentors? What did your team learn being part of the team? All these things are generic questions. There could be significantly more questions asked. There will be significantly more questions asked. But these are the kind of things that you'll expect to see in the judges' room, and potentially in pit interviews and so on and so forth. So again, making a change from what we used to do. We used to have a spreadsheet. If you didn't know it, the judges had a spreadsheet, and basically they went through and there was 10 features that they were evaluating you on. They give you a 0 to 10 point value, and they would say like, autonomous performance or creativity or all these different things. And then it would auto-generate and say, this team's had 137 points, so it should win this award. This team had 120. And it had some skews and things that depend on the award and what it needed to qualify to. That's all gone, so don't worry about that. Now the judges are using these judges' sheets, and you can see that they are summarized by the award, not by the feature. So for the Think Award, they're looking at, okay, engineering notebook has to have an engineering, and they basically start making comments on it. So they take all these notes, then they go to their deliberation room and decide who's really going to win the awards. Again, you see the top of that sheet, not to be shared with teams. You're not getting any kind of feedback back, and we'll go over that in a little bit. But this is what the judges are going to be using now, actual pieces of paper. So make lasting impressions. Why are we making this change? Okay, so first off, first is handed down from Manchester all the way down to us that we have to make this change. We've been using our unique system for the last 5 years or so, but we have to do what everyone else in the state's doing. So this is unofficially, but some people have theorized that teams have not done well at higher events from Florida with respect to judging in the past due to how we've been judged through the Florida League season play in our unique system. Basically, what people say is because we do a different system, teams get used to that, and then they get to these national events. And because it's done differently, we don't do quite as well. Teams that win TOPS awards nationally usually do so because they've left a lasting impression on the judge's mind. They're told that their story wowed them and stood out above all other teams. Inspire. You want to connect with the judges. So in the past where it was rifling off, make sure you hit those 10 points and make sure you do all that stuff. If you just rifle off and spit a bunch of information out, if it goes too fast and the judges can't connect with you, there's a possibility you're not going to win the award, even though you might be qualified. Because remember, what they want to see is they want to be wowed. They want to have that story that makes them say, oh, this team really is impressive, not just that they do a lot of stuff. Almost like a quality over quantity thing, but not really. So you want to make sure that you present in such a way that you can connect with the judges and they understand your struggles as a team and what you went through and what you've done, not just spitting out a bunch of facts and stats to them. So we got to make sure we do that as a state because this is a big change from where we've been in the past. So like I said before, there is no more, there isn't any feedback that's going to come back to you. It's going to be purely self-assessment. So FIRST provides us with this form that you see here. And we're going to go over it just a little bit of some things that reasons why and things you need to do with it. So first off, why are we doing it? I mean, it's a very critical life skill. I mean, in real life, people might not give you feedback. They might just say, you didn't get the job or your project didn't succeed. And they might not be willing or able to provide you with any kind of feedback. Like if you go on a job interview and you don't get it, they might not tell you why you didn't get it. So you need to be able to reflect on yourself. So self-feedback is really, really important. And you don't want to be left like saying, oh, why did I do it? What happened? What went wrong? So that's why I first provided you with this form so that you know these are the things that they're looking for. And you can look at this ahead of time and say, okay, these are the points that they're looking to reflect. How do I improve these before I go into the judges' room for the first time? So prior to the event, you want to complete the top section. So the top section is a pre-interview section, kind of preparing yourself for it. And then after the judging interview, you want to do the rest of the form. And ideally, you're doing it like almost immediately when you walk out of the room. You want to have it all fresh in your mind, fill it all out. And you want to make sure you're really specific with what you're putting on that sheet. You don't just want to say like, do better, because of course you want to do better, but make some specific notes, like do a better job of making eye contact, or make sure that we don't interrupt the judges while they're talking. So make sure you're specific. And to help with that, recommend having a student member of the team to be your session observer and basically sit there with the form and fill it out during the presentation even. And especially if you can get someone who's really good at paying attention, someone who isn't super biased, who's like, oh, I think that girl's really cute, so I'm going to give her better points. No, you want someone who's really paying attention to make sure that they do everything correctly. Make sure before the next event you look over the notes. Don't just take the notes and then just file it away somewhere. You really want to look over those notes and analyze it to understand how you can do a better job. And each team member who's in that room should get a copy of that form to fill out, and then you can collect all the sheets together and say, oh, you know what? Tommy over here said that, you know, Jane was cutting people off, but Jane said Tommy was talking too much. So then you can help figure out what you need to do a better job. And of course, have a meeting afterwards to discuss it. You know, maybe the Monday after the event, or maybe during lunch you guys talk about it, because again, you want to document what's been going wrong to do a better job, because no one ever has a perfect interviewing session. People have good interviewing sessions, but it never goes perfect. So what's going to happen is you'll do all those interviews, the judges will nominate the teams, and then the judges will deliberate as to which teams receive the awards. So it's not like a cut and dry system like it used to be. And again, there's arguments plus or minus, but it doesn't matter what the arguments say. This is the way we're going now. So make sure you guys practice your judging. Make sure you fill out those forms, and make sure that you understand the way this system works. Again, all of this information is in the manual now. You can see how the judging system works. Florida is not unique anymore. We're using the national system, so you guys can research it and learn more. With that, looks like people were already answering questions in the chat. So Nathan, was there anything that you wanted to talk about with that presentation that I might have missed in the chat? I saw it was scrolling pretty fast.
Sure, yeah, no, I think you pretty much covered everything, Andrew. Just wanted to point out, because I've seen some of the questions going through, as far as judging goes, the goal here is to reduce the number of volunteers, the burden on volunteers, so there will be no need to recruit judges for league meets. Judges will only need to be recruited for the league championship. What we're going to be doing in the Space Coast League is we're not going to be having a judgment day, and we're going to recruit, try to get more industry professionals, similar to a first robotics competition event, where we'll have a good sized panel of judges, maybe up to 10 possibly. So you're going to have a panel that'll be kind of doing things in parallel. You will be working on part of time management skills here is, having a set of students ready for interviewing, while other judges are doing other things such as engineering notebook or maybe coming out to the pits. So it's going to be a little bit of a difference, but I think it's going to be really exciting. I believe from a recruiting point of view, it's going to be easier to get a set of judges that only have to volunteer for one day. Would you agree, Andrew?
Yep, exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah. And we're gonna, we'll go through the comments here as needed to answer any questions. The whole point of this was to try to mitigate as many questions with just putting up some PowerPoint, since we couldn't do this. So I'm going to go ahead and move on over to the electronics section. And I apologize if I'm not as thorough on this one. The mentor I had signed up for this is busy preparing for the hurricane. And he helped me produce this presentation. So without any further ado, let me go ahead and get this going here. And I just love having to switch between all the different windows. All right, so new control system for this season. The particular person that gave me this information has actually already purchased it and been using it for a while, so that's why I kind of relied on him to provide the information. But it's now the Rev Robotics Expansion Hub. It's pictured here, really nice photo here. I've also got a wiring reference sheet, which I would mention we'll kind of refer to in a little bit later, but if you'll notice quite a few changes is that a lot of things are able to connect to this one module. You've got your battery, you've got motors, now you've got the new Core Hex motor that Rev has produced, servos, potentiometers, sensors, etc. All of these things can be now connected to this one hub. Again, you don't have to use this. It's another option available. One nice advantage with this, of course, is less material in the robot versus having to have a power distribution board, and the module, you have the sensor module and the motor controller and that sort of thing. So some of the highlights, if you noticed on the previous screen, it showed you definitely need to have a power switch between the battery and the controller. You want to make sure you've downloaded the latest software, and the parentheses there's a stable one. So there's one that was just released, and Hans pointed out in the most recent newsletter. Don't know if that's completely stable yet, but we do know the one prior to that was. This has a built-in IMU, so there's no need to add external things such as a compass, angle finder, and those sort of things. That's already built into the device, which is really pretty exciting. If you are using more than 4 motors, you will need 2 controllers. You are maxed out at 4 motors on this system. There's no more like double dipping as you did in the past. You'll need to daisy chain them together, and you've got to use the provided power cable and communication cable. Very important that you do that. If you're using the Never Rest motor encoder, you need to purchase or use the Level Shift Micro to make sure that works correctly. There's a 5-volt sensor, so any legacy sensors, basically any that are 5 volts, you've got to use the level shifting board to interface with the controller because it doesn't have a built-in 5-volt interface. One really nice advantage to this is, as all of you will probably experienced, is USB connections are not the most robust connection, especially in a moving object. So this board utilizes RC connectors. They've been proven to be very reliable since they're using millions of RCs out there. So I anticipate having even less issues of things dropping out because of collisions and connections coming undone, if you will. Rev does offer a cable and sensor kit to interface with legacy hardware. It is 5-volt sensors and Anderson connectors, etc. It is offered at a discount of $150, not $150 off, but the price is $150 for teams. If you go to the Rev Robotics website, there are information of how to do the discount. I know they will retroactively apply it. So even if you've ordered it prior to the discount, they will retroactively take care of that once you got your password and your information from first. Regular board adapters must be purchased separately. So some big changes from the previous one. Sensors, motors, and servers are now all controlled from one module. So if you remember in the past, you had your servo module, you had a motor controller, then you also had your core power module. So you had 3 different pieces of plastic. You had these 3 modules that all had to get mounted in the robot, had to be connected to each other. That is now all consolidated into one nice low profile industry standard type device. You only need another module if your motor count is exceeded or the power requirements of the devices are exceeded. I put a little note here. You need to be really, really careful, and you need to be really careful, and carefully read the device specs to prevent overload. So whatever you're adding to this, you want to make sure you read the specifications, that you don't overload the board. We haven't done that yet. They are not inexpensive, and it's probably not a wonderful thing to try and have happen accidentally. So I'm going to pull up the Q&A to see if there's any questions that have turned in. Okay, lots of questions. All right, so let's go to the first one here. How does a team advance to states? We covered that a little bit earlier, but
I have the slide on that if you want me to share it, Nathan.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I have the slide on that if you want me to share it real quick. How about we come back to
sure.
when you do the control stuff?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, I'm going to unstop sharing my screen. And okay, so while Andrew's taking care of that.
There you go.
And I lost spot. Okay, so how do you advance to states? You advance to states from your league. Everything is now progressed up and through your league. A minimum of 2 teams will be advancing to the state championship from each league. The final number will vary based on the number of leagues, the number of teams in the league. That will be determined by Hans later on in the season. And the next question, is it possible to link a modern robotics motor controller to the Rev Hub if we don't need a full hub? I don't know the answer to that one, Neil. I don't want to guess on that one. I mentioned a little bit earlier, Christian, who put this together, wasn't able to join us. So I want to have to come back to you on that one. I'm not sure, Anonymous, the question here, can you explain more about, the advancement system? It's all in the manual. This is what's been happening elsewhere in the country. So a team will attend, so let's do the Space Coast League, for example. A team will be advancing through their league. They'll go to their meets, they'll come to the league championship, and the rankings will be already calculated based on every team's best 10 matches. So let's say, for example, team 1, 2, 3, 4 comes to the league championship, they're ranked 15th. They play through the league, they may get chosen by an alliance partner, and they go to eliminations, they end up winning the event. Does that mean you go to states? Not necessarily. So on the screen right now, I can see that Andrew is showing the advancement criteria. This is all, again, coming straight out of the manual. This is how you advance from states to super regional and how you advance from super regional to the World Championships. So it's going to be the Inspire Award winner will get the first pick. Only has 2 slots. Then it's going to be the Alliance captain that wins the event. If you are an event that has more teams advancing, then you'll just go down the list. So it would be Inspire Award 2nd place. Then it would be the winning Alliance captain first pick. Of course, just like it states, for those of you that have been in a state championship, if teams have more than 1 spot, it will just slide down to the next team. So that's why this goes down to, I think, 20 or 30 different advancement criteria. But that is how teams are going to be advancing now. So just to summarize again, everything is contained within your league. And then each league will send an allotment of teams to the state championship. In some ways, I think this is a little bit easier to do than the state ranking. Since you're not averaging your match score, it's just taking your best 10 matches. So you don't have to worry about messing up your state ranking if you lose a few matches. It's just your top 10. We're capped off at 6, maximum of 6 matches per event. So if a team attends 2 league events, they'll have played 12 matches. So they'll have their best 10 from that point. And let's see, I think that was let me see if I had any more questions in the system here.
So Morgan asked a question in the YouTube chat, Nathan. She was asking, how do leagues know how many teams will advance to state from their leagues prior to the league championship? I would say that I'm sure Hans will announce it before the league championship, yes. But
yes, he told me earlier he'll be announcing it sometime in late September, early October.
So there you go. So yes, it'll be well before the league championship.
And he is also on this, and he's been answering on the YouTube comment section, so he may also chime in there.
Yeah.
And I see Anonymous posted, what is the purpose of the league meet ranking system if we only advance based on awards? So you're not advancing based on only awards. Again, it's based on, your ranking is based on your robot performance, but the winning alliance team is the 2nd pick to go. So at a minimum, if only 2 teams are advancing from the league meet, at least one of those teams is going to be based on robot's performance. So, it's to your advantage to still want to do well robot-wise.
So just so you guys understand, so your ranking is following you through all your meets. So when you get to your league championship, if you're at a 10-0 with a really high ranking, there's a good chance, through that tournament, remember that still counts towards your average, your top 10. So your robot performance continues with you through the whole season until you get to your league championship. So there's a possibility you can win every single match you ever play and win by like 3,000 points. You get to the league championship, and you can lose all those matches, but you could still be the winning alliance captain. So your robot performance does matter in the rankings, because remember, the first team that goes is the Inspire Award winner. The second team that goes is going to be alliance captain. Now we're pretty sure every league is going to have at least 2 teams go. There's a possibility that leagues will get more teams to go. It really comes down to how many teams we have in the state. Like Nathan talked about before, we're not going to know that till the end of the month, beginning of next month. So robot performance is important, and that's where the rankings matter from league to league event to league event, because those compile with you and they move on with you to your league championship. I think that might clarify it.
Thank you, Andrew. I just got some exciting news. Everybody just stay tuned for a second. We just got permission to show the game animation earlier than noon if we get finished with these questions here. So Tyler, if you're listening, I'm going to text you as well. Hans just gave me permission to, we can play that.
Tyler said okay.
Okay, so let's just, is there any other questions here?
He's re-encoding it so he can upload it. He can play it.
Okay, so while we're waiting for that, do we have any other questions from the audience? Oh, and I should probably do my camera here. Okay, it's about 50% done, so we're on the video itself. We didn't know it. Apologize for that, folks. Pretty exciting, though, that we can go ahead and show the animation. So please just make sure that no one posts anything on social media before noon. It's very, very important. No social media post, no Reddit, any type of social media. Nothing is to be posted about this game. Otherwise, we will lose the ability to show the game animation earlier in the future. By the way, if you didn't know it, one of the advantages of attending a Kickoff Live is that you are able to see the game reveal sooner than waiting for it to be, posted on the YouTube video. Plus, you could show the field. I actually have some field elements here. I will go ahead and show later if I can. I don't know how well it's going to show up on the camera here, but
hey, Nathan.
Yes.
So we just had a question pop up. They're asking for a little more clarification on the top 10 matches.
Sure.
Why don't you try it? Since I tried once, your time to try.
Sure. Okay, so the scoring system is going to be continuously updated from meet to meet. So team 1, 2, 3, 4 goes to the first meet. They play 6 matches, win all 6 matches. They go to their second meet. When they come into that meet, the scoring system is going to remember that they played the 6 matches, and whatever effects happen in the second meet. So let's let's say they play 6 matches and win 4 of those matches. When they come to their next meet, be it league championship or if their league is having a third tournament, the scoring system is going to know that. I'm sorry, I got deflected by my name here up there. The scoring system is going to know that you've already played 10 previous matches. It's only going to take those top 10 matches. So if you go to 3 events and you play a total of 18 matches, regardless if you win all 18 or not, only the 10 best matches are what carries into your league championship. Does that help answer your question?
It was
I don't see who ever asked it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the dog is that's his name is Woodrow. In case that was a question as well.
So I hope that clears it up for you guys. Basically, you can play 30 matches and it's still going to take your top 10 matches. And now with that, as the season progresses, remember in your first league meet, let's say a winning score could be 40-0 or 40-10. By the last match, it could be 120 points to 30 will be a winning score. So you don't necessarily just want to sit on being 10-0 right in the beginning and saying that you're done with it, because remember that there's the 2 breakdowns. You've got QP and RP. So your ranking points, I believe, is the final score of the losing alliance, pre-penalized, I believe is what it is. I'm looking for it in the manual. I can't find it quite yet. So you have your QP, which is going to be your 10-0. You'll have 20 points for that, but then RP is going to be what breaks that tie. And with the fact that you're using your top 10 matches, there's going to be a lot of teams with those 20 points, so the RP is going to matter. So playing more matches and getting higher points later on and not just sitting on it is going to be really, really important. So I hope that clarifies it for you guys. We have like a 20-second delay from when we talk to when you guys can chat to us, so it's fine.
Okay, I think we're just about ready for, Prasad, how does league championship scores come into play for identifying the winning alliance? It'll just be like it was before, Prasad. So you'll come into the league, you'll be ranked. The only difference between now and last season is that the very first match, the league championship, teams will auto be ranked. And that ranking will continue through the rest of the league championship. The top 4 teams will still make their alliance selections, and they'll have elimination playoffs, and there'll be a league championship winner and a league championship finalist.
A possible analogy would be that you can think of all the meets are matches as part of the league championship. The whole season is the league championship, effectively. Just some matches you'll be playing with different teams, and obviously the robots will be different performances. But they all contribute to what your league championship ranking is going to be.
Yes, and I hope I'm saying this name correctly. Shuvankar. Yes, you are correct. So your top 10 matches come to league championship. You follow the league championship as a normal event. You play. The top 4 teams are ranked. Pick, play. You have a winner. And then awards are presented. So it's just like state championship. Just imagine it's like state championship, but as Andrew said, inside of your league, you're kind of playing out over a course of several events spread out over the course of a month instead of all at the time. Okay, guys, we are ready to watch the game animation. So let's go ahead and reveal Relic Recovery. Tyler, take it away. Anytime. Yes, Kyle. Yes, every team will go to league championship, no matter if they've lost every single match coming up to league championship. Maybe he texted too soon. I don't know. Okay, so I see a few more questions coming in here. Yes, so Kyle, every team qualifies for league championship. That is a new change, regardless of your match performance throughout your season. Yeah, Tyler, you can hit the roll, hit it, play it.
Knowing Tyler, he's sitting there clicking like 5,000 things trying to make it all work.
Please bear with us, everybody. You know, this was kind of a last-minute thing we threw together to try to do something to. Oh, hey, here we go.
Oh, he's having some problems with it.
It's rolling, Andrew.
Is it? Where?
Yeah, on YouTube.
Okay, I'll mute myself. Sorry.
Lost every single match.
Oh, come on! You've got to be kidding me! Alert! The exercise has been suspended. Please use caution when entering the test area.
All I'm saying is, even if you managed to get to that velocity, which you couldn't, but even if you did, you wouldn't be able to control it. How are you going to land in a crypto box?
So, what's the deal, Kat? You didn't think mentioning a vertical ascent might be integral to our planning?
I know, guys, I know, and I'm sorry, guys. It's kind of an impossible checkpoint.
Impossible?
We didn't want you damaging our relic prototype during recovery. It's the only one we have.
Why even run the simulation if we can't complete the mission?
Well, we don't know all the game details, but we do know some of the key points. So,
Hi,
this
team
is just
leader. I am so sorry. I am so sorry.
Why would you eat? Are you okay?
Yeah, sure, I'm fine. This is what you guys call an adrenaline rush, huh? Okay. Well, anyways, we really need to talk about the grabbing arm and if we can actually reach the glyphs or not.
My baby! Look at this, guys. This is a mess. And you guys aren't wearing your safety glasses. You've got dirt everywhere. Dirt and filth. Seriously, guys?
Okay, guys. Let's get serious. We have a couple weeks left until the game starts, and we have a leg up on the competition. Now we need to be focused.
You guys, you have 10,000 views on our new team video. You guys are rocking it, especially you, Jukebox.
That's great. We worked really hard on it. Now can we please focus for just a second?
Are there any comments?
Yeah, like how cute those pilots were.
What I want to know is if we're going to have to play those blue losers from last year.
Hold on a second. We are a really good team, and we need to be the best we can be. So gracious professionalism, right, guys? Right. Now let's get back to the task at hand.
Hey, First Verse, it's your favorite team coming at you live from our super secret testing facility at an undisclosed location. It's 15 minutes south of Los Alamos, and it's right next door to a super famous...
As you can see, our team gets really excited about these challenges, and I bet you do too. Now, let's welcome this year's challenge, First Relic Recovery. Let's have a great season, challenge yourself, and have fun. Get ready for some adventure.
Introducing the 2017-2018 First Tech Challenge. First Relic Recovery. A team consists of 2 driver operators, a coach, and a robot. The robot must be built from materials specified in the game manual and fit within an 18-inch sizing cube. But after the match starts, it can expand. Each match is played with 4 randomly selected teams, 2 per alliance. Your alliance partner for one match may be your opponent in another. The game is played on a 12-foot square playing field with a foam tile floor and 1-foot-high walls. 2 red and 2 blue balancing stones are mounted on the field floor. 4 relics are positioned in the field corners. 4 jewel sets are positioned on the field walls. 4 crypto boxes are also located on the walls. In front of each crypto box is a taped-off safe zone. A glyph pit is also taped off in the center of the field. 24 gray and 24 brown glyphs are randomly arranged in the glyph pit. These foam blocks are 6 inches square. Red and blue relic recovery zones extend beyond the field toward the audience. And finally, the 2 alliance stations are taped off on opposite sides of the field. Prior to the start of the match, teams must balance their robots on the balancing stones. They can be in any orientation. Teams also preload 1 glyph per robot, selecting either color. Then, field personnel randomize the locations of the jewels. They also randomly select one of 3 pictograph designs and install them on the field walls. Each match begins with a 30-second autonomous period. During the autonomous period, there are a number of ways for teams to score, using only pre-programmed instructions. If only 1 joule is left on the platform at the end of the autonomous period, the alliance corresponding to that color earns 30 points. Each glyph scored in a crypto box earns the alliance 15 points. The pictographs have coded messages indicating which of the crypto box columns is a key. If a robot can decode this message and place a glyph in the crypto box key, their alliance earns a 30-point bonus. Each robot parked in a safe zone earns their alliance 10 points. Following the autonomous period is the 2-minute driver-controlled period. There are a number of ways to score points. Each glyph scored in a crypto box earns the alliance 2 points.
This period.
A completed row of glyphs earns an additional 10 points.
For teams to score, using only
And a completed column earns an additional 20 points. If an alliance can score 12 glyphs in one of the 6 cipher patterns, it will earn an additional 30 points. CryptoBox scores are cumulative and can add up quickly. The last 30 seconds of the driver-controlled period is the end game. If a team completes a CryptoBox cipher, they are allowed to place relics before the end game. During the end game, teams may reach over the perimeter wall and place a relic in the recovery zone to earn 10, 20, or 40 points. An upright relic earns an additional 15 points. And finally, each robot balanced on a balancing stone earns their alliance 20 points. There are many ways to score points in relic recovery, but there are also rules that, if not followed, will award points to your opponents. For example, a robot may not control more than 2 glyphs at a time. And robots may not place non-glyph elements into a crypto box. This has been a brief summary of the first relic recovery game. For complete rules, please read the entire game manual, and remember to check the Q&A forum. But remember the most important rule in First Tech Challenge: gracious professionalism.
Okay, well, there's the game, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. Looking like it's pretty good. Quite the game, huh? So Nathan actually has a couple of the game pieces with him there. And so does Sid. Oh, I guess Nathan walked away. Sid doesn't have game pieces, but he does know the game in and out. He's had the rules for a while. Sid, do you have any points that you've already decided you wanted to talk about, or anything like that? Nope. Nathan? Hey, there he is. He's got the game piece, and he's muted. You're still muted yourself, Nathan.
I'm back. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So I got some glyphs. It's a really simple. It's a very soft, very light cube. It is 6x6x6. Give you an
what's
idea
the material? And is it foam? Just coated foam, or?
It's like looks like 2 pieces of foam kind of welded together in the middle.
Okay.
But it's all foam. It's I don't know if you can tell, but it's super light.
Okay.
This is the relic. Let me back up a little bit so you can kind of get an idea of how big it is. It's actually quite large. My hand is just covering the bottom of it.
Alert. The exercise has been suspended.
Joules, those are the particles from last season, so no different there. This is the piece the joules will sit on. It's I don't know what this material is, but it's just got a little hole cut in it, so this sits on it.
What's the deal, Cap?
It's just kind of barely resting in there.
Guys, I know, and I'm sorry, guys. It's kind of an
Let's see.
possible. I don't want you damaging our relic prototype.
On the bottom of those balancing stones are these yellow discs that are kind of hidden under the tile. So I couldn't grab the disc big enough, and I don't even know if you'd be showing the camera, but the balancing stone is basically, it's about 20 by 20 square, and the robots can. It's only about that high off maybe the tile, if you will. But it is very, very wobbly. It's very wobbly.
Well, anyways,
So I've got, this is of course the gray glyph. There's also the brown glyph. I'm gonna let Sid and Andrew talk. I can go try to grab the cryptograph thing to show you how they. Well, actually, I can't show you because it's not against the wall. These fit easily in there, but it's not really loose. There's maybe an eighth of an inch, if that, tolerance on either side of the glyph between the glyph and the columns of the cryptograph.
We have a leg up on the competition. How we
Yep. I don't know, Denny. I don't know if it's yoga. I've never seen a yoga block, so I don't know.
Squish it.
But it is. This is probably only like maybe 3 ounces, if that.
Squish it, like squish it on the camera so we can see how much it compresses.
Are there any comments? Yeah, like how cute those pilots.
Like put your fingers into it.
It's
yeah.
very hard to compress though.
Knows if we're gonna have to play those blue losers.
Can you just do like just your fingers, not your whole hand?
I'm squeezing as hard as I can.
Okay, so it's pretty dense.
Yeah. It's really dense, but it's very light.
Hey, First Verse, it's your favorite team.
Let's see. Other questions. Oh, so these are line specific. So there's 2 blue and 2 red. What else do I got here in my bag? I think that's about it right now. Sid is. Oh, you got. Yeah, you're muted, Sid. I don't know if you can hear me, but
Get ready for
there he is. Okay. All right. So now it's time to open it up, if we can, to Sid for some Q&A. Just a quick disclaimer. Everything here is hypothetical, if you will. All final authoritative decisions are, of course, posted in the forum. So everything we're going to talk about right now is not official, if you will.
But after the match starts, it can expand.
Well, you guys, I know the manual pretty well, but I'll wait for Sid. If you want to go ahead and post some questions here in the YouTube chat, I'll do my best to answer before Sid's ready to go.
The game is played on a 12-foot square playing field with a foam tile
questions
and 1-foot-high walls.
Question time.
2 red and 2 blue balancing.
You there, Sid? I see you're unmuted finally.
4 relics are positioned.
Well, no questions. Wow, this
no
is
question. I think everyone's probably rewatching the game animation.
Yeah, probably.
4 jewel sets are positioned on the field.
So these are some of the questions I had myself, and then went back and read in the manual. It definitely makes a difference if you solve the crypto key. Not only do you get bonus points, but you're allowed to start in game early. It doesn't specify how early that I could find, but it definitely makes a difference to put these blocks in the correct pattern, and it has to be in both cryptographs on your alliance side, not just one.
Nathan.
Hey, there he is.
But my challenge is desktop between cell phone. I don't have. It's all multiple connections.
Teams must balance their robots on the balance.
Well, we haven't had any questions come through yet that I can see. I'm just going to make sure that no one's still submitting. I'm on the. Okay, I'm going to just double check that real quick.
Field personnel randomize the locations of the jewels. They also randomly select one of 3 pictograph designs and install them on the field walls.
So someone asked the question: are jewels only involved in autonomous? You guys. So are jewels only involved in autonomous, or are they used during teleop as well?
Each match begins with a 30-second autonomous.
I saw only in autonomous.
During the autonomous period, there are a number of ways for teams to score, using only pre-programmed.
They're just using autonomous.
Yes, there's a question: are jewels only involved in autonomous? Yes, that is true.
On the platform at the end of the autonomous period, the alliance.
Can
you hear me?
Yep, we heard you.
Points.
He's 30 seconds behind us.
Scored in a crypto box earns the alliance 15 points. The pictographs have coded messages indicating which.
It's got to go to space and come back. That's the problem.
Right? Yeah.
And place a glyph in the crypto box key. Their alliance earns a 30-point.
And I'm just going to double check and make sure that people aren't still asking questions through this Q&A here.
Another question is, where are the crypto keys? Are they on the pictures on the wall?
Nope.
Is the 2-minute driver controlled period.
The crypto keys are in your brain.
Each glyph
The
scored
pictogram is on the alliance wall for the robots to use, but there is nowhere on the field is the crypto key
earns an
posted.
additional 10 points. And a completed column earns an additional 20 points. If an alliance can score 12 glyphs in one of the 6 cipher patterns, it will earn an additional 30 points. CryptoBox scores are cumulative.
Yes, and Ryan is correct. Cannot use battery for ballast. The team asked that at inspection last season.
Is the end game. If a team completes a CryptoBox
Okay, Super 7, the cryptographs. There are 3 cryptographs. There's a snake, there's a frog, and I forget what the third one is. There are a certain way these glyphs are arranged in a certain
Yes, that is correct.
pattern. If you get that pattern, then you get bonus points and you can start endgame early.
And finally, each robot
It is very much coordination there because you've got to coordinate with your alliance partner, I would say, and you got to stack them in a very certain way. And I don't know, we haven't got the question yet, but teams are only allowed to carry 2 of these glyphs at a time, or I should say possess. You're only allowed to possess 2 of these at a time.
So here's the glyph, the crypto, if everyone wants to see them.
Cool.
So frog.
Thanks, Andrew.
This has been a brief
frog,
summary
bird,
of the first
snake.
relic recovery game. For complete
And that's
rules,
it.
Snake.
please read the
That's what I was
official
missing.
manual and
Yes.
remember to check the Q&A forum. But remember the most
And then
important
the
rule of this tech challenge: gracious
scroll up here so you can see the pictographs. So you can see how you have to read the different hexagons to figure out which one you're supposed to do.
So 2 of these, there's a maximum that can be possessed by a robot, as in previous seasons. Possession counts on if it's on your robot or if you're hurting them. If you're deliberately pushing them around the field, that counts as possessing them.
And you can see, I mean, I've got the game manual up over here just so you guys can see it, but you can see here how things are scored relatively. So you've got the rows, columns, and a glyph. Most of a glyph on that one. There you go.
Ryan, no. Once a cryptogram has been scored, it cannot be descored. And I believe, Sid might want to double check me, but I believe descoring an opposing alliance is a double major penalty. Sharvy, the cryptographs don't really have a message. It's an indication that if you do that, then you get bonus points and you can start endgame early. The pictograms are what the robots use in autonomous mode to decipher the key of which column to place the glyph in. So Ian, correct. In autonomous, if the pictogram says left and you put this glyph in the right or center column, you will not get the bonus points. That is correct. And believe it was where the first one is placed. So if the pictogram says left and the first one's placed in the middle, but then another one's placed in the left later on, that doesn't give you the bonus points. Sid might want to double check me on that one.
Double correction.
By the way, guys, major penalties are worth 40 points, if I remember correctly, and there are double major penalty in this game. So really crucial that you are very mindful of things. One thing I did want to point out is now it's pretty obvious. If you notice on AndyMark, when you go to purchase the field elements, you have an option of a whole field, half field, or quarter field. I highly recommend teams really strongly consider just getting a half field. There's really no advantage to having 4 cryptograms because one of them is going to belong to your opposing alliance. You're never going to need to practice driving, going over there and putting them in, unless you potentially maybe want to do some kind of strategy of giving them some points to do your ranking points. But it's very possible you'd be fine with a half a field. Lisa, how tall is the area we place the glyphs? It's about 24 inches tall. Can we cross over the other side of the field, Maelstrom? And autonomous mode is deliberately mentioned in the manual that robots may not do any type of autonomous
Are there any comments?
interference, if you will. You're not allowed to go over and do anything to stop the opposing alliance autonomous mode from functioning.
Hold on a second. We are a really good team.
Okay, great. Sid just confirmed, Ryan, you cannot descore glyphs once they're placed.
Hey, First Verse, it's your favorite team coming at you live from our super secret testing facility.
The cryptograph is not a sheet of paper, it's how these glyphs, Sharvie, the cryptograph is how the glyphs are placed. The pictogram is going to be a sheet of paper. It's going to be randomized with a 6-sided die or a glyph with numbers on it. The refs are going to roll the die, and it's going to tell them which pictogram. They're going to place a printed pictogram on the field. And the pictogram is really hard for people to see. It's just got black dots. I don't know if Andrew can pull up. Oh, he's got, if you look on, Andrew, why don't you talk for a sec so you go full screen on your side.
Check 1 2. What? Actually, I think we're kind of in the corner. I don't know if on the YouTube if we're full screen.
Okay. Well, if you look in the game manual, there's pictograms, and they're basically it's kind of like an SAT score. There's little bubbles, and the robot can decipher those bubbles to determine where the, where it's telling you it's the key of which glyph goes into the cryptogram. Excuse me, the glyph box first. So there's no center, left, or right written on it. It's just a bunch of dots.
Teams, 2 per alliance. Your alliance partner for one match may be your opponent in another. The game is played on a 12-foot square playing field.
Yes, Euphoria is going to be coming into major play this year. If you want to get those bonus points in alliance.
2 blue balancing stones are mounted on the field floor.
Okay, so I could see that.
Are positioned in the field corners.
Let's see.
4 jewel sets are positioned on the field walls. 4 crypto boxes are also located on the walls.
Well, confirming on the cryptograms, but from my understanding, when I read through the manual the first few times, yes, you need to know what a snake, what a bird, and what the frog is.
24 gray and 24
I believe Sid said there is a reference somewhere on the field, but
these foam blocks are 6 inches square.
I'm not 100% positive. And then on the outside, so this is a really big difference with this game. On the outside of the field, robots are allowed to cross over the alliance wall to drop or place the relic.
Prior to the start of the match,
and it will be being placed on that. There's like a pad. It's got zone 1, 2, and 3. So basically, how far a robot's able to reach out of the field and place this is how many points you're going to get. How wide is this? I'll go get a tape measure real quick. We're in a second here, but I would have to guess it's about. So it's going to bulge out here. So this part right here is probably 4 inches wide, and it probably bulges out to about 5.5 to 6. It's hollow, so it's not got much to it. They're very light, very easy to have follow.
There are a number of ways for teams to score using only pre-programmed instructions. If only 1 jewel is left on the platform at the end of the
so in the video right now, you can see the poster that's on the floor. It's where the relic's going to get placed is how you're going to get the bonus points.
Remember, Nathan, there's a 30-second delay.
Oops.
So what do you want to look at? You want to look at the overview of the field?
So the paper on the where the first piece goes. Yes, that is correct, Ian. The pictogram is for autonomous mode where the glyph goes.
So this is an overview of the field right here.
Earns their alliance 10 points.
The relics are alliance specific,
following the autonomous period,
not team specific.
There are a number of ways.
So here's an overview of the field, Nathan. What part were you talking about? I was only
okay, Andrew. Yeah. So the little pattern, the poster that's on the floor, is kind of outside the field. That's laying on the floor outside the field. So the robot's going to take the relic and place it somewhere on that poster.
On the
Depending
poster.
on if you're number 1, 2, or 3, will depend on how many bonus points you get.
So there we go. I should have locked it in. So we're talking about you reach out and you're dropping it over here. Basically.
Yeah, I don't know why I still see Sid. Maybe because
unclick the no auto switch again.
Yes, you're correct. You are correct, Andrew. Where your mouse is, that's where the relic's going to get placed in that 1, 2, or 3. And 3 is 40, I believe. 2 is 20, and 1 is 10 points.
Yep, and you can see the dimensions here on the field. So 48 inches to the back of the furthest, 32 inches to the front edge of the furthest one away. They're yeah, so you can do the math on that one. Pretty easy. Yeah. So I have to get off because I have to go get ready for Robot in 1 Weekend. We're doing a strategy talk. If anyone wants to tune in, head on over to the Robot in 3 Days channel. But please stay here. Keep asking questions otherwise. Thanks to everyone for tuning in, at least me. Nathan and Sid will still be here answering questions.
Thanks, Andrew.
Okay, bye, everybody.
Yes. Yes. Thanks, everyone. I will stay here for another few minutes. I see we're down to 65 now, so I know everybody's probably anxious to get going. It is like just a couple of things I wanted to point out to help save some teams some money. I firmly believe a team could do very well in this game with only purchasing half a field, if not a quarter of a field. There's really no advantage of having 4 of the boxes that the glyphs go in. Because 2 of them are the other opposing alliance you're not ever going to be going in there and messing with. Sid, do you want to talk a little bit about defense being played in this game? Maybe? I don't know if he's muted himself. Okay. Well, I'll wait here for just a little bit longer to see if there's any more questions. Maybe about 10 more minutes. Now, by the way, for everyone that's watching this live, this will be archived. So if you have other team members that would like to see the animations and everything, especially the PowerPoint presentations at the beginning, this will be archived on YouTube. And then I will be sending this to Kyle Holt so he can put that on the Florida First website so that they're all archived and available to everyone to download as needed. Okay, well, I think I haven't seen any questions come in, so we'll just wait here a few more minutes, and we will go ahead and wrap things up. I think this is probably my opinion, I believe this is one of the best games First has done. I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see how the strategy plays out. For those of you who are going to be driver coaches, good luck. It's going to be a lot of strategy, so I'm going to yes, coaches are going to be looking at chess players and people who are really good at thinking on their feet. Yes, Morgan, I will make sure. Actually, I believe if you just Google Robot in 3 Days, you can find that chat. But I will.
I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to come across.
It's kind of an impossible checkpoint.
Impossible?
We didn't want you damaging our relic prototype during...
Okay, I don't know if everybody heard that or not. Sid just said he wasn't sure if he could come across. But yeah, Morgan, I will see if we can get that link sent to you in a bit, because they're going to be continuing to talk strategy.
Oh, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry.
All right, well, Tyler, go ahead and say, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up now. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a great season. Hopefully Irma doesn't bother you very much where you are. And I really appreciate everyone for tuning in to our first ever virtual kickoff. Hope we never have to do one of these again. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day.
You guys aren't wearing your safety glasses. You've got dirt everywhere. Dirt and filth. Seriously, guys?
Okay, guys. Let's get serious. We have a couple weeks left until the game starts, and we have a leg up on the competition. Now we need to be focused.
You guys, you have 10,000 views on our new team video. You guys are rocking it, especially you, Juicebox.
That's great. We worked really hard on it. Now can we please focus for just a second?
Are there any comments? Yeah, like how cute those pilots were.
What I want to know is if we're going to have to play those blue losers from last year.
Hold on a second. We are a really good team, and we need to be the best we can be, so gracious professionalism, right, guys? Right! Now let's get back to the task at hand.
Hey, First Verse, it's your favorite team coming at you live from our super secret testing facility at an undisclosed location. It's 15 minutes south of Los Alamos, and it's right next door to a super famous...
As you can see, our team gets really excited about these challenges, and I bet you do too. Now, let's welcome this year's challenge, First Relic Recovery. Let's have a great season, challenge yourself, and have fun. Get ready for some adventure.
Introducing the 2017-2018 First Tech Challenge. First Relic Recovery. A team consists of 2 driver operators, a coach, and a robot. The robot must be built from materials specified in the game manual and fit within an 18-inch sizing cube. But after the match starts, it can expand. Each match is played with 4 randomly selected teams, 2 per alliance. Your alliance partner for one match may be your opponent in another. The game is played on a 12-foot square playing field with a foam tile floor and 1-foot-high walls. 2 red and 2 blue balancing stones are mounted on the field floor. 4 relics are positioned in the field corners. 4 jewel sets are positioned on the field walls. 4 crypto boxes are also located on the walls. In front of each crypto box is a taped-off safe zone. A glyph pit is also taped off in the center of the field. 24 gray and 24 brown glyphs are randomly arranged in the glyph pit. These foam blocks are 6 inches square. Red and blue relic recovery zones extend beyond the field toward the audience. And finally, the 2 alliance stations are taped off on opposite sides of the field. Prior to the start of the match, teams must balance their robots on the balancing stones. They can be in any orientation. Teams also preload 1 glyph per robot, selecting either color. Then, field personnel randomize the locations of the jewels. They also randomly select one of 3 pictograph designs and install them on the field walls. Each match begins with a 30-second autonomous period. During the autonomous period, there are a number of ways for teams to score, using only pre-programmed instructions. If only 1 jewel is left on the platform at the end of the autonomous period, the alliance corresponding to that color earns 30 points. Each glyph scored in a crypto box earns the alliance 15 points. The pictographs have coded messages indicating which of the crypto box columns is a key. If a robot can decode this message and place a glyph in the crypto box key, their alliance earns a 30-point bonus. Each robot parked in a safe zone earns their alliance 10 points. Following the autonomous period is the 2-minute driver-controlled period. There are a number of ways to score points. Each glyph scored in a crypto box earns the alliance 2 points. A completed row of glyphs earns an additional 10 points. And a completed column earns an additional 20 points. If an alliance can score 12 glyphs in one of the 6 cipher patterns, it will earn an additional 30 points. CryptoBox scores are cumulative and can add up quickly. The last 30 seconds of the driver-controlled period is the end game. If a team completes a CryptoBox cipher, they are allowed to place relics before the end game. During the endgame, teams may reach over the perimeter wall and place a relic in the recovery zone to earn 10, 20, or 40 points. An upright relic earns an additional 15 points. And finally, each robot balanced on a balancing stone earns their alliance 20 points. There are many ways to score points in relic recovery, but there are also rules that, if not followed, will award points to your opponents. For example, a robot may not control more than 2 glyphs at a time. And robots may not place non-glyph elements into a crypto box. This has been a brief summary of the first relic recovery game. For complete rules, please read the entire game manual, and remember to check the Q&A forum. But remember the most important rule in First Tech Challenge: gracious professionalism.
In a vast and mysterious jungle, treasures await those who have determination, skill, and the passion to explore. Your quest, should you choose to accept it, will lead you to recover lost relics and return them to their rightful place in history. In a vast and mysterious jungle, treasures await those who have determination, skill, and the passion to explore. Your quest, should you choose to accept it, will lead you to recover lost relics and return them to their rightful place in history. In a vast and mysterious jungle, treasures await those who have determination, skill, and the passion to explore. Your quest, should you choose to accept it, will lead you to recover lost relics and return them to their rightful place in history. In a vast and mysterious jungle, treasures await those who have determination, skill, and the passion to explore. Your quest, should you choose to accept it, will lead you to recover lost relics and return them to their rightful place in history.